Indian Wells and the Miami Open, the Sunshine Double, so called because they are back-to-back tournaments played in hot conditions as part of a competitive and grueling doubleheader. Only 10 players have won both events in the same calendar year since Jim Courier first managed it in 1991. Part of what makes it such a challenge is the need to adapt to conditions. Temperatures may be permanently high, but there is a key difference. Indian Wells, 145 feet above sea level in the Californian desert, is a dry heat. Miami on the Florida coast has high humidity at an average of around 70% when the tournament takes place. This level of humidity is amplified in hot temperatures, which means more dampness is retained. One conclusion often drawn when comparing the two tournaments is that the relative humidity of the air greatly affects tennis balls. Miami is often said to have more heavy conditions than Indian Wells, and it's suggested this slows the ball down significantly enough to have a material impact on the types of shots and even the types of players that are effective. The supposed truism comes from the very top. Andy Murray, who made it beyond the quarterfinals at Indian Wells only 3 times in 12 appearances prior to his hip surgery, explained away his struggles at the tournament by saying, "Obviously here in the desert, the very sort of light air, thin air, the ball travels very quickly through there. Traditionally, when I've been playing here, this has been the tournament that I struggle with because of the conditions." After one match in 2014, Maria Sharapova commented, "We're in a little bit of an altitude, not much, but the ball does fly somewhat in the first couple of days." But is this belief even accurate? Let's drill down into the science. First, how does air affect a ball's flight path? Well, when a tennis ball is struck in a regular manner, it loses height due to gravity and speed due to friction with the air. This is drag force. Many shots are hit with topspin, which is intended to make the ball curve downwards to allow for greater net clearance but still land in play. This is lift force. Both lift and drag influence the ball. Drag force is proportional to the air density. A 10% increase in air density causes a 10% increase in drag. Drag is further magnified the faster the ball travels. A 10% increase in speed of shot causes a 21% increase in drag. This means those who hit the ball with more power have their shots more disproportionately affected by drag. A ball leaving a player's racket with 10% more speed than their opponent arrives at the baseline only carrying around 7% more speed. So far, so simple. Dense air will slow the ball down and reduce the effectiveness of big hitters. But the big question is, what is dense or heavy air? Heavy conditions invariably mean damp, like after bouts of rain or, in our example, humid heat. The opposite is said to be the case when tournaments are played at altitude, the thin air that Murray mentioned. However, contrary to popular belief, humid air is less dense than dry air. Water has a lower molecular weight than nitrogen and oxygen, the components of air. The effect of humidity on air density, particularly in the typical conditions of tennis matches, is minimal anyway. At 70 degrees Fahrenheit or 21 Celsius, a dramatic change in humidity from 0% to 100% decreases the air density by a mere 1%. In tennis terms, this increases the speed at which a ground stroke arrives at the baseline by less than 0.5 kilometers per hour or 0.3 miles per hour. It is only at very high temperatures, when, as previously mentioned, more water is retained, that a greater effect would be seen. But these conditions are rare, as many events have an extreme heat rule. Humidity can, of course, impact the properties of the ball. The fuzz on tennis balls, which breaks up the airflow around the sides of the ball, helping to increase the drag, is prone to fluffing up when damp. This serves to further disrupt the airflow, but the real-world effect in tennis matches is negligible. A ball may also increase in mass when wet. In humid conditions, a wet ball hit deep with heavy topspin lands 20 centimeters or 8 inches shorter than a dry ball in dry air, takes 0.03 seconds longer to reach the baseline, and arrives travelling 2.7 kilometers an hour or 1.7 miles per hour slower. Slices are affected even more, landing 1.4 meters or 4.6 feet shorter and reaching the baseline 0.05 seconds later, with 4 kilometers an hour or 2.5 miles per hour less speed. Humidity does have some effect on the surface characteristics and mass of the ball, as well as the air density, but these effects turn out to be very small and largely cancel each other out. Perhaps the reason why players feel that humid air is heavier is because of its effects on the human body. The more water that is in the air, the less sweat evaporates from the skin, meaning the body works even harder to keep cool. When combined with elite athletic performance, this can induce more stress on the body than in lighter air. In humid conditions, it means rackets, legs and arms can feel heavier, even if the air isn't.
If you enjoyed this video, you can find it and other content just like it on Popcorn Tennis. Popcorn Tennis is the home to diverse tennis content, from opinion pieces to statistical analysis and everything in between. You can find them at popcorntennis.com, and if you'd like to be a contributor, then drop an email to the address below.